All right, chapter 1, section 2. We did the activity in class with our see no evil, hear no evil, and that was all about seeing the process of going through a experiment. So what we're doing now is just going through basically one slide for chapter 1, section 2. Chapter 1, section 2 just is about the statistical problem solving process and understanding what happens in a given stage when going through your statistics collection through finish. So the very first thing that happens in a statistical problem is asking a question of interest. A statistics question involves some characteristic that varies from individual to individual, meaning maybe you're interested and you have to ask a question at this time. You're interested in how many people really have blue eyes, or you are interested in how many gas tanks in cars actually leak, or how many people prefer cherry Italian ice versus blue raspberry Italian ice. It's basically just saying you want to know the answer to a question. We're coming up on an election. How many people prefer one candidate versus another candidate in any sort of election? It's just the question of interest. After you have a question, you have to produce the data. Produce data is step 2. This is when you actually do the observational study or experiment. You make the data. If this was our election, maybe you are going door to door asking people which candidate they choose. This is just collecting numbers and putting them on the paper. Or you stand outside an ice cream truck and you give people only cherry or blue raz as options, and you see who picks which one. This is just producing the data. It is making the data. It is going from question to answers to the question. After you get all the answers, they are just sprung out on paper, right? You just collected data. You just have data collected. Maybe it was how long it takes people to run a mile, and you just have a list of mile times. You go to step 3. You take that list of collected data, and now you analyze it. This is where you make graphs. In analyze data, you make graphs. This is where you make numerical summaries. Okay, this is where you're going to find the mean, find the median. This is where you're going to make bar graphs. This is when you're going to make pie charts, histograms. This is when you use all of the tools we're going to describe in chapter 2 to go from data to summary of the data. This is when you look for outliers, when you look for derivations, called an outlier in the pattern. This is when you go from raw data to what looks pretty. After you have all of this stuff that looks pretty, charts, summaries, measures of center, the last step is to interpret the results. This is when you actually just answer the question. How many people did prefer cherry ice? This is when you just answer the question. How many people had blue eyes? So, quick stop. First, this is where you ask the question of interest. Step 2 is just get the raw data. Produce the raw data. This is when you choose. This is when you choose experiment or observational study and then get the data. The last one is analyze the data. The next one, analyze the data, make charts, make graphs, make measures of center. And the last one is very simple. Just answer the question. It is the only thing that happens at the end is answer the question. This is 1.2. You're going to do some problems now. So these were just things, more examples. How common is texting while driving? You can use this 4-step. How accurate is the SAT? You can use this 4 steps. What we're going to do now is, again, we're going to have I'll tell you the date on the website. I don't think it'll be a Thursday for our chapter 1 test, so I wouldn't worry about that right now. But what we are going to do now is these problems. This is going to be our problems for the rest of today. So I will put these on the site, and that is it for 1.2. It's a very short section.